Howdy, folks. Welcome back to the little farm. We've had a busy one this last 2 or 3 weeks or whatever it's been. Week 15 and 16 are mostly cleanup and getting prepared for projects. Alright, so for the start, I went ahead and tried to continue cleanup work to remove brush and shrubs so we can get easier access to the big tree here for Haley's tree swing project. That's going to be pretty cool, and I'm excited for it. While I was out there, I delimbed this pine that we had pushed over when we were making space for Haley's big garden, which we actually have another project we're going to work on later. Anyway, I'm pretty excited for this because it gave me material that I could use for improvements on the firewood station that I have in the backyard. My goal is pretty straightforward. I wanted this tree cut in half lengthways so I could keep the firewood off the ground because it's got to dry. You can't just chuck wet firewood into a fireplace. It's not a great idea. It's a good way to cause problems. About here is when I realized that I had forgotten to bring a tape measure, and I needed an 88-inch length, so I just used the good old foot. Since I wear a size 12 boot, it's about a foot long, right? Get it? A foot? Cutting this log in half was pretty cool. It took a little bit of effort to get it right and whatnot. One of these days I'd like to get a thing called, I think it's called an Alaskan sawmill. And basically all it is this kind of framework or jig that you put onto your chainsaw, and it gives you the ability to kind of mill boards. I don't know how often I'd really be using something like that, given that I only do this every now and then, but I know we're kind of looking at doing some kind of Virginia style fence line where it's just chunks of wood. And while this did the trick and we got it in half, the cuts weren't very good. You can see where the left board's pretty clean looking, but I left a lot to be desired on the right side of the board. I'm thinking that Alaskan mill would be cool. Anyway, so I took those halves, drug them back to the fence at the house, laid them out, put what firewood I had already gotten a hold of, and started stacking it. My West Coast saws felling dogs came in, and they are sharp and they're looking good. They're a lot better than the cutesy pootsy little OEM spikes that came on my MS-251. You give up a little bit of length, actually quite a bit of length of usable bar, but it also kind of keeps you out of trouble. Speaking of trouble, that tornado that hit Griffin, Georgia, yeah, that was about a mile or two north of us. Now, we don't have any structures, so we're good to go on this. But when we got to the property a couple of days after the tornado hit, we came to this. These are our neighbors, not our immediate neighbors, but they are on the north side of the road that we're on. The amount of devastation that hit the homes and the community there is pretty substantial. I heard it was an F3. I don't know if that's true, and it's not like I couldn't look it up and actually get my facts right, but I'm, whatever, I'm lazy. The point is the amount of devastation that hit is incredible. The actual town of Griffin itself was pretty well hammered. The Sunday after the tornado came through, I took the opportunity to go see if I could find any kind of place where I could assist. I got a chainsaw and a love of running it, and what better way to do that and then take the gift of the chainsaws that we have been blessed with and return that to the community. So we spent a bunch of time trying to clean up some of the neighborhoods, and there's still so much work to do. Part of me feels bad for taking the time to go do our road, but you know, you kind of have to take care of your own stuff before you can really get too far deep into the woods. The total extent of the damage for our property was, I think it was about like 9 trees or something like that. I don't know what the total count is, but basically we had, I think it was like 6 pines or 5 pines that came down across our driveway, as you can see here. If it wasn't for our neighbor Dawn, I'd still be cleaning out trees at this point. In fact, actually, technically, I think this is week 17 that I'm doing the audio for this, and I just finished clearing the road out. I've still got to do a bunch of work. But that said, him and his John Deere here, this, I don't know what it's called. We'll just call it a backhoe. This thing is awesome. It pulled all the downed pines and got them onto the other side of the road and got them out of the way so that at least we could drive, and then left me with the snag of hardwoods and some other stuff to try to clean up. Now, that's not too difficult, but, and you'll see here in a second, one of the biggest issues we had to figure out was how do we get these like 3 or 4 trees, these hardwoods, that have intertwined, intermingled, and snagged into this other tree. How do we get these down? And thankfully, through some good old-fashioned noodling and some hard work by Don here with his backhoe, and then a couple of cuts with Haley's small saw, we were able to get the one tree all the way down.
All right, at this point, I don't know how many hours of riding the struggle bus. We got at least 2 trees bucked down to decent sized rounds that are ready for firewood. This behemoth has been reduced to human-sized height. It is no longer towering above us so much that I could drive the 4Runner under it. This tree is toast, and I don't care. It's just more firewood. But the most important part of this is the road is now officially clear except for this. That's it. And that concludes Monday.
Ever since the tornado hit, basically every day that I've been out there has been cut trees, clear trees, move trees, tree something, tree that. This snag is an absolute pain. It's I don't know how to describe it other than this absolute rat's nest of opportunities to pinch your bar and get hurt. The amount of tension and compression that is in different spots, depending on where a tree the tree has landed or gotten snagged in something else, is incredible. This stuff is dangerous. It is incredibly dangerous. There are times, and you'll see it, where I'm worried because I'm afraid that as I'm making this cut, this tree that I'm working on is going to come back and smack me. In fact, I had an issue where one of the pines that Dawn had dragged, I was trying to cut it up. It had gotten snagged in some trees that were still standing. It snapped and came back at me. I thought I got punched. I thought something had happened. I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know. And I checked the saw. Everything's good. I'm good. I'm not bleeding. No broken bones. But it was scary. I realized that, yes, I knew that this stuff was dangerous, but I didn't realize how dangerous. Also, sadly, we had to put down our dog. She was 14 years old. Her name was Jolie, and she was the sweetest dog I have ever met, and I will probably ever meet. She was loved by literally everybody who ever met her, even people who aren't dog people. She had gotten really, really sick, and we put her in for surgery, hoping it would work. Everything was going good, but unfortunately, the surgery kicked off.
Then look at this then.
And her old age just caught up with her. And it's sad because she was still a puppy. She was absolutely still a puppy in every way, except for age.
It's a better shot
For us, it's been an absolute cry fest. It's still hard. We still struggle a little bit. We buried her out overlooking the pond, and she's got a pretty great view. And actually, just talking about this is hard.
That's not cute. Do the cute thing again. You're weird.
Scratch that flag. Scratch that butt, 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 butt, scratching that butt. What are you doing? Attack.
We love you, little boo. Alright folks, thanks for watching. I'm hoping we have a little bit more happier content, a little more productivity going on other than clearing trees, which I've got at least a little bit more footage for that for this week. That said, I've got some projects coming up for spring. I'm thinking we're going to put the tree swing in. I'd also like to get a fence around Haley's garden so we could plant oats and some other odds and ends. Got quite a few projects coming. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you next time.